This is Steps from Lucy's Library, coming to you with Becoming Lottie Moon by Emily Hall. And I always wonder with historical fiction how much of it is historical. And I'm pretty convinced Emily Hall did her research and that this is rooted in so many wonderful stories that are true. Of course, it is fiction, but Lottie Moon was one of the first single female missionaries to be sent out with the Southern Baptists. And so she blazed a trail for others. But the story ends with her getting on the boat to China. It begins when she's 6 years old and she's trying to get out of church. And she did, at 6 years old, get a seed planted in her heart for missions. But she went off to be a prodigal instead. So it took her a while to realize that seed was from God. And so she went out as a missionary at 32. So this is largely about her school years. She and her older sister were both all about women's rights. Their dad was happy to have them educated at the same level as the boys. And so you get to hear about her going off to school. And I wanted to read you a story that moved me from her school years. She is helping a slave write a letter to her daughter. What they were doing wasn't exactly within the school rules, although Lottie had never heard of anyone being caught and punished for helping Anne. Mr. Cock had always seemed serious when he instructed the students not to fraternize with the slaves. Lottie took a breath and flipped the page over. She looked up, ready to start again. What else? Write down Psalm 17:8. Lottie hesitated. I don't know that one. Anne closed her eyes and quoted the verse. Keep me as the apple of your eye. Hide me under the shadow of your wings. Lottie copied it. How did you learn that? I thought you couldn't read. Same as I learn all my verses. I listen to them and I pray them. I heard a preacher pray that one a long while back and it stuck with me. I prayed it over me and Claire Bourne. I prayed it over Betty back when she was a baby and woke up crying like she was scared. And now I pray it over my baby boy. Betty will know it when she reads it. Mr. Cock taught her to read and write. She taught me a little before when she was here. Lottie put her pen down and slouched while she held her hands in her lap. My mother taught me Bible verses, but I don't remember many of them too well. They stick good when you close your eyes and imagine them. Just picture it. God cuddling you close, covering you with his wings like a mama bird. Lottie closed her eyes and tried it. Hide me under the shadow of your wings. You got it, Anne smiled. Betty used to swap out the words a bit. After all the laundry was done for the day, we'd be headed back to the cabin through those woods over by the hill, and she'd lift her little face up to the moonlight leaves and say, Hide me under the shadow of your branches. Anne laughed, but you couldn't laugh then because that sweet baby meant it with all her heart. Who did she want to be hidden from? Anne turned her face away and looked at Lottie from the side of her eye. Why don't we finish the letter so you can get to bed, Miss Lottie? It's getting near 10 o'clock. Lottie leaned forward. Who was looking for you? Anne faced Lottie square on. It's like this. No one really sees us enslaved folks, but everyone knows when we're around, especially if they want something. In the woods under those branches, no one could see me or Betty or tell us to do anything. We was covered. I don't know if God meant for trees and branches to be the same as wings and feathers, but he covered us with them just as good. I just absolutely adore that part of the story. And, Lottie grew up on a plantation. So this book has just some interesting, abolitionist as well as women's rights themes throughout. And I really, really enjoyed it. You definitely see that progression of her going from rebel to catching that seed that God planted in her heart when she was a little girl to join the mission field.